It's time, guys, for round 2 of Jigsaw's sick and twisted fucking games, and it is Saw 2. And I think a lot of people will put this as their favourite. I feel like, in terms of the favourite tag, it will be 1, 2, 6, and probably 3. I never really liked 3, to be honest. I guess 3 does feel like it's part of the original trilogy, but then at the same time, I mean, 4's taking place at the same time as 3, so, I mean, where do you draw the line, guys? But who fucking knows here? But this movie, obviously, it follows the nerve gas house. You've got the 8 people in it. You've got the whole cop plot as well going on. I like the fact we actually, like, dive into, like, John Kramer's backstory. I think, like, what I loved about the first one, it's a complete mystery, and stuff basically doesn't get revealed to the end, but it's like here, it's like, I think some people would have liked a follow-up to, like, the end of the first movie, but then again, I guess Saw's never really been like that, you know? Well, I guess in the later ones it does it a bit more, but would you really want them to waste, like, half an hour at the start of this movie just focusing on the end of the first one? I kind of like the fact it's up in the air, and you know it's a bit of a mystery. But anyway, into the movie, guys. We kick off the movie with Michael. He is an informant here, and he basically is dealt a shit hand. Because he has to cut out the eye, well, his eye essentially, basically all behind it in order to get the key. He eventually can't do it and he dies, right? But no, it gets me. It's like John Kramer basically preys on criminals and shit, and cops who bend the rules. I mean, obviously there is people who's innocent who get involved in shit, but this guy is a legit informant. Alright, he's a rat, he's a snitch, as he said in the tape. Like, surely Jigsaw should be like, John Kramer or whatever, should be happy with this. I mean, the guy is like legit getting criminals behind bars and shit. You need to see. You need to see the inside of yourself rather than see the outside. The most valuable part of you, brother, is using your eyes to get people arrested. But anyway, yeah. I mean, like, this guy's motives, like, change every 5 seconds. It's like, you know, oh, I'm not a murderer, but yet there is literal fucking traps, like Amanda's in the first one, where she has to kill that guy to get her key, and if she doesn't do it, she's going to die. So there's traps where people just have to die. Like, in the 6th one, you know, the William guy can only save a third of the people, or half in some cases. So people have to die. You know? And it's just like, mate, what are you doing? But anyway, Detective Matthews, that's who we're focusing a lot on this movie, and his son. His son's in the game with the 7 other people. They've all been set up by his dad in the past. And yeah, pretty much he'll be on the hunt. But we've got Gus, we've got Sivir, we've got fuck, I can't really remember. You've got the white woman, you've got Opie, you've got the Hispanic woman, you've got the black guy who's Trammell in Sons of Anarchy, you've got Amanda, and I believe I've covered everyone there. But yeah, then you've got like Kerry's in this movie, you've got Rig as well, and just a lot of shit going down. But basically they track John to this warehouse because Detective Matthews manages to figure out the clue. I mean, and it's also like, well, what happened if Detective Matthews figures out this clue like a few days earlier? Even though you're kind of given the indication that he found it out that night, but would that have fucked anything up? Like if he found out as soon as he was at the crime scene, like, oh look, there's Wilson Steele. You know, like what would have happened if he found it out that day? You know, it'd been interesting to note, guys. But basically, when he gets there, John explains the rules to big man. What's his fucking name? Eric Matthews. Yeah, him. Basically says all he has to do is talk to him, and his son will be okay in a safe place, because that is when it gets revealed at that point that there's 8 players in this game, and then basically they all awake Amanda. She's like, I've been here before, brother. So she's the only one who's been tested before. It's very rare you'll actually get a game where people have been tested before. I can't really recall too many fucking. I mean, I guess Hoffman, he's been tested a few times, fucking multiple times actually. Even though some of them were set up, some of them weren't. But and then they basically play the tape here. 3 hours, the door of the house will open, but in 2 hours it will die due to the nerve agent that is in the house. So that's not good. But there's antidotes everywhere, and to get these antidotes, they have to use the numbers in the back of their mind, which nobody catches on to. But like you can see here, like the way these games are set up, John knows what he's doing. He's a smart bastard. Like there's just no way these people could fucking work together. Like it's the same in the 5th one, and it's the same throughout them. Like the games, like, I'm not saying they're set up completely destined to fail, but the likelihood of them succeeding forget about how hard the trap. It's just the people in them. Like here, you've got a bunch of fucking hotheads, drug addicts, all that. You know, I guess the Sevier guy, like the Trammell, we'll call him. He's basically trying to, like, you know, get the group together, and they need to think about it. He's going over the tape, but nobody gives a fuck, you know. And then when they find the key, they're like, right, fuck it, we'll use it to the door in this room. But even though it says on it, don't use it. And then they use it, and then Gus dies if it gets shot in the head. But obviously the door would have opened anyway. I guess they didn't know that, right? But at the same time, the door opened. I don't know how long it was after, about like 15 minutes or something. Door opens, they all get out. A bunch more traps happen, guys. You get Opie in the furnace. He dies. Turns out he actually helped kidnap a few of them, but yeah, he ends up in the game himself. That was a pretty brutal trap, by the way, in the furnace. Meanwhile, though, you've got Eric Matthews talking to John. I mean, some great scenes here. I mean, you could say, like, this is just... It's just brilliant. It's giving you such, like, an in-depth look at this guy and his philosophy, you know? So I feel like in that respect, they couldn't have done much better in the second movie. I feel like they could have definitely bridged the gap between 1 and 2 a bit better. But I guess, like I said at the start of this vid, you know, it helps with the mystery. But it eventually gets to the point, though, where we're at breaking point. We've got the needle pit trap, which was absolutely brutal. Sevier fucks up here. He can't put the key in time after he throws Amanda in, which was a pretty brutal, like, but... Then we've got Alison, she puts her hand in that trap, which is precious. Sevier figures out, though, once he goes back to the main room, that they do all have numbers in the back of their head. Laura dies as well, succumbing to the nerve agent. But it basically just gets to a point, like, obviously they're seeing this on the video feed and shit, they think it's live, but it basically comes to the point where Eric Matthews is like, well, fuck this shit. And he basically puts actions into his own hands. He batters John till John's like, game over, I'll take you to the house, but only you. So those two head off, the SWAT team get down, but then the bomb squad find out the location of the house, so the SWAT team head to the house. So is John and Eric. During all this, so we've still got Sevier. He's found out all the numbers apart from fucking Daniel. Hey Daniel, apart from Daniel and Amanda's number. He confronts them, though, in the bathroom as Eric Matthews enters the house, but so does the SWAT team. But turns out the feed isn't live because Kerry's still back at the warehouse, and they're kind of like, well, what the fuck's going on? Also forgot to mention the 3 cops who basically got annihilated at the start of the movie. One got his legs broke, didn't die, but the other 2 just got electrocuted, which was a little bit brutal. But as John says, they killed themselves, brother. But yes, so Eric Matthews is showing up at the house, but basically Sevier cuts his own back of his neck off to get his own number. Fair fucking play here. I mean, not many people would fucking do this. Amanda's like, but you need to know your own number. He's trying to look for a mirror, and he's like, for fuck's sake, I can't find it. Yeah, and I should say also at this point you've also got the bodies of Sepp and Adam in here with Lawrence's foot. But turns out Daniel's no dead, because as Sevier comes over to kill Amanda, Daniel slices his throat clean in two. As this is going down, though, Eric Matthews arrives, but as he's arriving like into the bathroom, obviously we've just found out that this isn't actually happening at the same time. And then he gets injected with a pig mask. Turns out it's Amanda. She's like, ho ho ho, I'm the new John Kramer, buddy. And then you are my first test subject. Game over. And he's tied up like Lawrence for the first one with his foot fucked. So will Big Eric Matthews escape? Who knows, guys? But that was Saw 2. I feel like I wrapped it up a wee bit too quick, maybe. But when you've already watched the movie a bunch of times, I don't feel like I need to go over it. I gave the first one a 9.5 out of 10. Honestly, I don't think that's overrating it. But Saw 2, I think it's very well done. You know? It's a really good sequel, but I feel like it could have did a lot more with the first and second movies. But bear in mind, you know what happens in the later ones. So, but I still think the twists at the end are great, you know, and the fact that Daniel was in the safe place all along, shit like that. So I give the first one a 9.5 out of 10. I'll give the second one an 8 out of 10. There may seem a massive difference there, but I just feel like the whole element of the first one, like with the whole mystery, is just brilliant. But anyway, guys, leave your thoughts down below. Till next time, 8 out of 10's no pish.